of the War and Peace Report, I'm Amy Goodman. Graphic images of blood-drenched and shaken Muammar Gaddafi have been circulating around the world after the Libyan dictator's death near his hometown of Sirte yesterday. The images show the former Libyan leader being dragged around by angry fighters, his face and clothes blood-stained. There were scenes of jubilation in the rebel stronghold of Benghazi and other areas across Libya as news of his dramatic death spread.
Thanks to God, everything is in order so far. The big joy has been completed. Now we are looking forward to building this country and have a rest. And God willing, it will be very good.
The former Libyan leader was killed 8 months after the first protests erupted against his 42-year-long rule. The circumstances of his death are not yet clear. Preliminary reports suggest NATO aircraft struck Gaddafi's convoy near Sirte early on Thursday. But he and a few others escaped on foot and were eventually caught and killed by a unit of fighters from the National Transitional Council. Spokesman of Libya's military council, Ahmed Bani, said the world would not blame Libyan troops for killing Gaddafi.
They met him, our revolutionists, our troops met him. He tried to resist them. So they killed him, and I'm sure that the world will never blame us. They will never blame our troops. The most important thing is that Gaddafi is killed. How? It's not so important.
Now the Associated Press reports Gaddafi's burial has been delayed ahead of an outside investigation into the circumstances of his death. The NTC had planned for Gaddafi to be buried in an undisclosed location Friday. However, Mohammed Sayeh said a third party will come from outside of Libya to go through the paperwork. That third party could be the International Criminal Court. For now, it's likely Gaddafi's body will remain in Misrata, the western city to which it was taken after he was captured in Sirte, initially alive. Meanwhile, NATO Secretary-General Anders Fogh Rasmussen said NATO had successfully completed its operation and would soon end its mission in Libya.
After 42 years, Colonel Gaddafi's rule of fear has come to an end. Finally, Libya can close this long, dark chapter in its history and turn over a new page. NATO and its partners have successfully implemented the United Nations mandate to protect the people of Libya. We will terminate our mission in coordination with the United Nations and the National Transitional Council, and that moment have now moved much closer. And now I call on all Libyans to put aside their differences and work together to build a brighter future.
That was NATO's Secretary-General Anders Fogh Rasmussen speaking yesterday in France. President Obama referred to it as a, quote, momentous day in Libyan history and said the United States and its allies worked successfully with the Libyan people to put an end to Gaddafi's dictatorship.
Faced with the potential of mass atrocities and a call for help from the Libyan people, the United States and our friends and allies stopped Gaddafi's forces in their tracks. A coalition that included the United States, NATO, and Arab nations persevered through the summer to protect Libyan civilians. And meanwhile, the courageous Libyan people fought for their own future and broke the back of the regime. So this is a momentous day in the history of Libya.
To talk more about the situation in Libya, we're going directly to Gaddafi's hometown of Sirte to talk to Peter Buckert, Human Rights Watch's Emergencies Director. He's joining us on the telephone. Peter, welcome to Democracy Now! Tell us exactly what is understood what happened in Sirte yesterday with the death of Muammar Gaddafi.
Well, I was in Sirte yesterday. We were awoken shortly after midnight to very heavy bombardments coming from the rebels. At about 10 o'clock, we went downtown and found the rebels celebrating their complete victory. They had taken control of the last stronghold. And soon thereafter, after I went to the hospital, a man arrived with a golden pistol and said he had just taken it from Muammar Gaddafi and that Muammar Gaddafi had been captured. We went back to the scene this morning and found at least 95 bodies laying in this area where this final gun battle took place. We spoke to one of the commanders at the scene whose base is just across the street. He said at about 8:30 yesterday morning, a group of 50 vehicles with about 300 people on it tried to break out of Sirte They attacked the rebel base where he was based. NATO then intervened and bombed the convoy, but it was a very bloody battle which lasted for about 3 hours. He saw Gaddafi being taken alive from the scene, but being beaten by rebels.
We're talking to Peter Buchert, and we may have just been cut off. Let's see if we can get him back. He is with Human Rights Watch, and he is in Sirte. Peter, are you there? Peter Buchert spent the night just outside of Sirte and is describing to us what he understood happened yesterday. We'll go to a break, and then we'll come back. This news out of Yemen, the burial of Muammar Gaddafi has been delayed pending an investigation and autopsy. Peter Buchert will be joining us in a moment, Human Rights Watch's emergency director. Stay with us.